Hi, everybody. Okay, it looks like we are live. If you can just post in the chat so I can make sure that I've done this properly because I'm never 100% sure. And usually I mess up the tech. I hope everyone's having a good Monday. Thank you for joining me. Today, we are going to talk about content silos. Now, content silos are kind of complex, but they aren't really. So we're going to break it down, make it less mystified, make it much easier to understand. So that's the goal today. Now, the way that I've set this up is I'm going to start by introducing it and like talking a bit about what they are, how they work, and then I'm going to audit some sites. So we had a lot submitted. I used a randomizer on Google to pick 5. So we have, I think, 3 are travel, 2 are not. So we've got some good variation there. We've got one that's travel style and location, one that's location, and one that's general travel style. So we've got a lot that we can go through there. Then at the end, I'll take questions. I had some submitted in my Facebook group, but also pop them in the chat as we go. I'm not going to look at the chat as we're going because with my ADHD, I get incredibly distracted, and I don't want to get distracted here. I want to stay on point. But I will ask that the questions that you ask be related to content silos and categories. That's what we're focusing on today. I am going to leave off other questions because I really want us to focus on this. That's the goal of this entire session, okay? So we'll go for about an hour. If we have a ton of questions, we might go a bit longer. If we have no questions for some reason, I will fill that time. Don't worry. I'm not going to waste your time here. So let's start with what are content silos. Now I'm going to share my screen. Oh no, I've minimized things the wrong way. Of course I have. Okay. We're going to share my desktop. So content silos at their base are kind of an everything page for your content. So the main goal of them is just that someone can find your information more easily. That's what a silo page is. Now, to come up with those pages, we have to categorize our content. So you're going to have your niche, which is like your overarching niche, what you talk about, what you do. So for She Knows SEO, that's kind of blogging. But there's a lot of types of blogs. There's so many components to blogging. There's Pinterest, there's Facebook traffic, there's whatever other social media I don't know about is out there. So you want to then have silos that are more specific elements of that niche. Now, for me, my niche is actually SEO blogging. So from that, I have broken that out into 3 silos. Typically, I recommend 2 to start, but She Knows SEO follows no rules. So I kind of do whatever I want with this. So the first one we have is SEO. SEO makes sense. Obviously, it's an SEO site, but this is really going to be the basis of my content. So this is where I'm putting all of the information on SEO. And the reason I categorized it this way rather than like keywords or backlinks or internal links or whatever is because those are a part of SEO. And my audience, especially beginners, won't necessarily know to go looking for backlinks. They will know to look for SEO. So when they come here, and I need to like add a jump link here because it's gotten long since I last played around with this, but you can see we have keywords, we have SEO writing, we have internal linking, link building. I don't know why I chose that instead of backlinks, but something happened when I chose that. Course and product reviews, monetizing your site, WordPress, analytics, like you can see there's a lot here, but it all falls under SEO. And that's because that is where my audience goes to look for those topics. Now, to create your own silos, really what you need to start with isn't the silos. What you want to start with is having an idea of the niche, but mainly focusing on who are your people, what matters to them. So for someone coming to this site, if my niche was just like everything SEO, yeah, maybe I would have like keywords, internal linking, backlinks, whatever in my menu. Now, another reason I didn't do that is it can get so long. Like you would have the most massive menu by the time you broke out all of the SEO terms. But what I did instead is I put them in an area where I saw people searching, where I figured that people were going to go to find that information. And for many of you who've been on my website, if you went looking for content, this is probably a pretty easy way for you to be like, hey, I want to know about keywords. Keywords are a part of SEO. I'm going to go there. And then, yes, I need to fix the jump links thing that's been on my to-do list for like 6 months now. It'll happen eventually. But you would then be able to find the content that way. And the same thing kind of happens for Google, kind of happens for all of our SEO. These pages carry authority. They are a hub page for all of your content to exist on. So we want to make it easy to use. We want to get to the point, and the point here is navigation. The point here is not information. It is to help someone find the information. So think of it almost like your own Google results within your own site. You are helping people answer a query, and maybe they don't even know that they have that query. That's where this really works well. So with this site, I have other silos as well. I have AI. That was pretty accidental. Once I started this site, I didn't ever think I would talk about AI, and I accidentally became the AI girl. So we also have an AI section. Now, I don't have that many posts on it, so I haven't really broken them out into topic clusters. I refer to topic clusters as those clusters we saw under SEO. So SEO, whole silo, then we have keywords. That's going to be a part of SEO. Keywords kind of could exist on their own, but keywords exist under SEO. So for AI, I haven't done this yet. I need to write some more posts first. But I could have one for ChatGPT. I could have one for Jasper. I could have one for every individual AI writer if I wrote a bunch of posts on them. The reason that we cluster them beyond Google, beyond the topical map, beyond how it helps internal linking down the line because you plan content that can be internal linked, the real reason we do this is for our user. Because even on that last page, when I was showing the keywords, maybe you came here searching for like, what are keywords and why do they matter? And you didn't know that zero volume keywords even exist. So this is a way to like almost tease your own content for your audience. They don't know what they don't know. So they might not know to look for that. They might not know like even the when to do keyword research for travel blog posts. This came up in my Facebook group a few times, even recently. And I sent them the link to the post and they were like, oh my God, you already have this? Yeah, because I noticed you guys asked about it. But you may not have thought that that would even be on my website. So if someone's coming to my site to learn about keywords, and then here they have these helpful things that they didn't even think to search for, it will get you more traffic. It is more helpful to the user. That is the hub, like, or pardon me, I guess like the nexus of a silo is just to make it easy for your user. Literally, I was on the phone with my mom yesterday, and my mom, she's so cute. She's in my Facebook group, and anytime you guys post links to like anything and like the couple of threads that it's allowed, or like the Mediavine boost post, she checks everyone's site. Like she will click through all your pages. It's really, really cute. But she was planning a trip for herself. I want to say to Thailand. I don't really remember. She's always planning trips, but she was planning something. She went onto a website, and anytime she clicked to go to like, okay, Chiang Mai or something, she wanted to learn about that. And I hope I said that right. Genuinely don't know. I have the worst pronunciation. I'm so sorry. But she went over to that, and then suddenly the menu disappeared. The menu changed to only be about Chiang Mai. So now it only had like Chiang Mai things to do, Chiang Mai restaurants, whatever. And there was no way to like find that other menu. Now she uses an iPad or her phone. So even like the back system doesn't work super well. It's not super easy. And if she had gotten like through a couple articles, now she has to like find her way back. And she was so annoyed. She was like, I had to go to the footer. I found an itinerary that was vaguely about another location just so I could like get to that city's version of their site, but it was all on the same URL. Like it wasn't separate sites. But you can see like she was getting frustrated. And so ultimately she, I think, has more patience than most people. So she stuck around a bit, but she left a lot earlier than she would have if she was able to get a good user experience. So this is why we have menus with our silos in it. So it is easy for people to find, to identify the content that they need, and to even find content they didn't realize that they needed. It's also why we write more than one post about a place. I did this too. When I started, I was like, I'm going to write one post about New Zealand, or Auckland, I think was where I was living. And I was like, things to do in Auckland. Done. I never write on Auckland again. I'm over it. I've fixed it. I'm done. No, because someone who's planning a trip will come to things to do in Auckland. Now what? What's next? Well, they probably want to book a hotel. They probably want to figure out tours. They probably want more advice on like when to visit. Maybe they want more advice on like, do you tip in Auckland? Which was like, I hate tipping worldwide. It's so confusing to figure out. But like they want all that information. I didn't offer it, so they left to get it somewhere else. Now, beyond even like rankings on Google, no matter how someone comes to your site, whether it is Pinterest, whether it's Facebook, whether it's your email, whether it's Google, it doesn't matter. If you don't make it easy for them to find more information, if you don't satisfy their intent and really help them like from point A to point Z, basically, they want to get that information and that help. So like the keyword situation here again, like I don't just stick with like what are keywords and why do they matter? Like I talk about how to mine keywords, what are snippets? That's not technically keywords, but it's how to find a snippet or keywords with a snippet. How many keywords to use? Are they case sensitive? Like you might not even have thought, are they case sensitive? Like, does that even matter? Kind of, sometimes, yeah. So these are things that like I take them from zero of what is a keyword all the way to, oh, okay, I get it now. And now I can move on to more content about SEO writing where I'm going to include those keywords. So that's how that system works. Now, silos versus categories, they're kind of the same thing. Categories are just a way to organize content. So are silos. Now, typically the way it'll work, and not always, but typically your silos are going to be the same as your categories. Maybe they vary a little bit. Maybe the wording is a bit different, but they're basically going to be the same. So all of the posts here on the SEO post page are also in the SEO category. And that just means that like they are looped together somewhere else. But category pages cannot pass authority because they're nested. And it's really hard to like I link to these posts internally and with backlinks, so I get more authority that way. It's very hard to do that with a category page, especially because they look like a category page and most people don't want to link to that. Whereas they'll link to an SEO guide because, hey, it's a guide. That sounds really helpful. So that's another reason to think about that. But for your categories, even for your silos, a lot of people think too hard on this. They are like, okay, it needs to be this way forever. It needs to be exactly this. Kind of no, and it might change over time. Even just like the wording that you use, maybe SEO, I would change it to keywords at a certain point if that becomes like the point of this. If maybe I started with keywords and I changed to SEO, okay, so it changed. That's all right. Ultimately, we just want it to be the easiest navigation possible for our users so that they can find the information that they need as easily as possible. Your homework, before we even dive in, I'm giving you homework because I am a mean teacher, is that I want you to find two people in your life, two people that are preferably in your target demographic, or yeah, close enough to you that like they would understand your demographic a little bit. So for example, if I was on this site and I wanted someone to review this, I might ask my old roommate, which I did when we used to live together. And I was like, hey, you don't know SEO. You've kind of heard me talk about it. So I want you to go on my website and without using the search function, because most of us have the search, I want you to go through my site and try to find, let's say, that zero volume keyword post. And I wanted to see where he went to figure that out. Now, again, he'd heard me say SEO, so he knew that keywords and SEO kind of go together. So that was the first place he looked. He came here at the time I had like maybe 15 posts, so it was a lot easier to find them. But he was like, okay, scrolled, found it, we're good to go. And that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be incredibly easy for him to move through my site, even though he's not really my target demographic because he doesn't want to build a blog. But even for my main site, I did the same thing where I asked him and I asked a friend who like, if you have someone who's on your blog all the time, they will start to know your setup. Even bloggers, I find they understand our systems a little bit too well. So we typically want someone that is straight up our user and say, try to find this. If they can't find it, you are not allowed to call them dumb. You are not allowed to be mad at them. You need to change it. That means it's on you because your users are using like 10% of their brain when they're standing in Starbucks and they're busy and they're trying to navigate your site and figure this out, especially on mobile. They need it to be easy. They do not have time to use like their academic brain to like parse through your site and figure out where something's going to be. Ultimately, it needs to be simple, it needs to be easy, and it needs to be accessible to them. So that also means I'm going to throw in some accessibility here, which I know everyone knows I get on my soapbox a bit. It needs to be easy to read. The amount of menus I go to where they are teeny tiny text, they're like size 10 like pixels or something. It's so small. or where it's something like, okay, it has a drop down, but I don't know it has a drop down. Now, I'm regularly like out, I don't know, wherever. I don't have great Wi-Fi, honestly. Don't have great Wi-Fi, don't have great cell service. So I'll be trying to access a site and I'll try to click on their about, and I don't realize it's a drop down until I've already clicked. And I'm like, oh, I missed out on whatever the drop down is. Sometimes on mobile too, it is very hard to access those things, especially if you got fat fingers like I do. So like, or well, it's more than my fingers shake. So because I have tremors, it's hard for me to hit the exact point to get to something, especially if the font is 10 pixels. Make your menus bigger, people. Make it easy to read, make it high contrast. So it's not like, if I had like light gray here on the white background of my menu, that would be so hard to read. We don't want that. We want it to be easy to read and easy for anyone to read. So no weird cursive, no fancy nonsense. Keep it simple. That's the best thing we can do, okay? So we had a lot of submissions. Oh, what time is it? Okay, we're doing good for time. I used a randomizer. If you've never used a randomizer before, go to Google and search random number generator and then just have it generate a number. It's really helpful. That's what I do whenever I do these. So I got 5. We have the Morbid Tourist, Healthy Happy Yoga, Side Hustle Weekend, Kate Abroad, and Nova Scotia Explorer. Now I need to pull up 2 screens, which, oh, it'd be great if I remembered how to do this. Oh no. Okay, I have it there. We're just gonna keep it old school and I'm just gonna move them around a bit. Okay, so I got people to submit their site to me and to give me some information on it because I don't know everyone's site at a glance. And often I find that the intention behind a site does not come across that well, especially for most of us because we know our site too well. So because of that, we have this idea that things are easier to find than they are. We have this idea that things are properly set up, and they might technically be, like maybe you don't have a broken link, whatever, but you may not have it set up for your user. So I'm coming into all these sites. I have never been to them before, or if I have, I don't remember, in which case apologies, but I have the memory of a goldfish. But I'm going to come in and act like your user. So the questions that I asked, I have to remind myself of the exact phrasing, but I asked them to give me their niche, a rough like silo structure, and then who their target audience is. That way I have an idea of who we're aiming for. So the first thing here is that for the Morbid Tourist, what's their name? Louise. I hope that's how you pronounce it. For Louise, it's people who like morbid tourism and the spookier and darker side of travel. I have a friend that like had a podcast about that, so I feel like I got some idea of what to talk about there. And I listen to like a lot of creepy murder shows, so I feel like I can like act like your proper audience. Then the niche is spooky travel. So spooky locations to visit across the UK and sometimes beyond the UK. My blog is a mix of reviews of scary attractions and things I've done and guides to spooky things to do in different cities. Okay, so there we know spooky travel is really the niche, but we're also getting these locations. However, it's not going to be like the UK just to visit the UK. It's going to be spooky travel first. So to me, the niche here, spooky travel. I'd even say haunted travel. This is something I see a lot with niches, to go on a minor tangent, is people choose a niche and they choose a name for it that maybe people don't know or search. I think spooky is close enough, but spooky, I don't know if that counts as haunted, and I'm not the person to like fully make that. With everything here, I should say before I even get started, like I am coming into this with my knowledge of these things. I am not an expert on all these things. I am new to some of these types of travel. Really, the only one I feel vaguely confident in, like knowing the topic, is the Nova Scotia one, because I lived there for 4 years. So like the other ones, I'm going off of this like from a beginner. I also, again, apologize for my pronunciation, and everything here, ultimately, it's your site and you know your audience better than I do. So you will know how it is easiest for them to navigate this site, for them to find this content. When in doubt, ask, just check with them. Hey, how do you feel about my website? How, like, even email them and ask one of them to like go through your site and give you the information. That works great if you already have people. Okay, so back to the Morbid Tourist. So then the silos. So I have a rough idea of my silos, but I think my problem is I'm struggling how to define and categorize them, which is always an issue when you write about travel. I.e., should I define them based on places/locations or themes? I think my silos are based on themes and are haunted travel, historical spooky travel, like historical graves, etc., and scare attractions, which I think they mean scary, but I'm not sure. Then there's travel guides too. These aren't the names, just the themes. Eventually, I hope to bring in more of a lifestyle element to it, like recommending scary movies. Okay, cool. So I think this is something that comes up a lot, especially with travel, is figuring out if your silos are going to be location-based or if they're going to be like topic-based. So for example, with SEO, obviously it's easier because there's just topics. There's not like, I don't know, SEO in Singapore versus SEO in Canada, unless I'm doing local SEO, and even then local SEO, it's still just local. So I totally get it. That can be confusing. Ultimately, again, this is going to come back to your user. How are they searching? So to me with travel, I think the best way to do it is to kind of do both. Always have a destinations tab. That's just the easiest thing. If you write on more than one place, some people will always search by location. So for me, I did a road trip across the US last year. I know it's US, not UK, but kind of a similar thing where like I was around a bunch of places, and when I was looking for stuff to do, I would always look by location because I was there already. However, if your like ideal audience member is someone who travels for the haunted attraction, I listened to a podcast called Red Handed. It's like a murder podcast in the UK, and they've actually done a couple things where they've gone to stay at like haunted. Can you not turn my chair, please, Theo? Sorry, he got to be the center of attention even when he's not jumping up. Oh yeah, so they like went to a couple haunted hotels to talk about. That was like their specific reason they even went there. And I know in the UK as well, like day trips and weekend trips are a lot easier. So for you, that might honestly make more sense. However, for somewhere like Canada and the US, where you really have to plan how you're going to get across the country, like I'm in Victoria, we have like the Haunted Empress Hotel. But when I was back in Ottawa, we had like the Haunted Jail Hostel, and I think the Chateau Laurier is also haunted. I feel like every Fairmont is haunted for some reason. But we had both of those options. So the problem is I wouldn't have necessarily just traveled for the spooky side of it. I would have been like, hey, I'm in the area. Now what's spooky here? And that's how I would have searched. So I think you need to like kind of figure that out a little bit. Now for your current menu, it is not done. It needs to be figured out a bit more, because when I go to the menu, even when it's not on mobile, even though mobile first, I think it's okay for us to like have it collapsed a bit. I have no way of finding anything here. So if I'm gonna go home, okay, I'm at the house, I was gonna say house, and there are like all the posts listed here, but there's no way for me to figure out which ones and where to go and things like that. So I noticed that you have, I don't know if these are categories. Yeah, these are categories. So we have like haunted museums, travel guide, haunted and museum again, museums. So you just need to think about this, and I'm gonna go off of my vague knowledge of this, but I would guess that the best way to do it within the UK then is, yeah, maybe skip the destinations, maybe go with the travel style. The easiest way to include both would be to have home, about, and then have destinations, and then have haunted travel. And within the haunted travel page, then you could have, just like I do with the SEO page, headers of museums, or the other ones, graves. I'm trying to think of anything else that's spooky. Creepy dolls. I don't know. Those are always a thing for some reason. Why is every doll haunted? But you would have those then on the one page. Now, the destinations page, then you could even just call it like UK. But if you're going to go beyond the UK, I do think a destinations page would make more sense. So maybe even long term, maybe right now you don't need it, but when you plan to have more locations, that could be a good option. And then within that, you would break it out by location. So even for now, it could just be like Bath, trying to find wherever Tully's is. I don't know where that is. Trying to find Nottingham. Yeah, you have Vegas already. So actually, because you have Vegas already, it might be better to even just start now, because that is quite a ways. So then having the destinations where it would have UK, break it out by city in the UK if you want, or region of the UK, then US, then whatever countries you have after, and then just put the relevant posts in there. And then in the haunted travel page, then you can break it out by type of thing. I think that's going to be a good way to do it. Now, once you have too many things in the haunted travel, like once you're like, okay, I have 50 museums, just like you saw on mine, like the general one, first of all, I need to just actually sort them. I just got lazy. But some of these, like it's getting quite long. And you could see it like took a while to get to the keyword section. So for me, this is my next plan is to make these their own page, like a subcategory page almost, or sub-silo page, where you'll have keywords here. You can click on it, or maybe I'll put some text, and then it'll take you to the dedicated keyword page. And that's also helpful if you want to categorize, like, let's say the museums, if there's, I don't know, is there like a theme to museums? I'm guessing there is. Like, there must be like haunted doll museum, history haunted museum. I don't know. There must be something there. So then you can have that page, which has its own subsections. On that main one that was just haunted travel, it's just going to be graves. It's just going to be museums, because it's a lot harder to like keep breaking it out into subsections. So that's where you could then move to like, you would only have haunted travel in the menu. I'm not a huge fan of drop downs. As you'll notice, even from Shino's SEO, like the drop downs that I have are all like product related or freebie related. And then the about, the ones that I have here are just for more like brands and things that I work with. So not really for the user, to be honest, for work with me stuff. I'm not a huge fan of it because I think, again, it makes people need to think early on, and it makes people need to make a decision really early that is frustrating for them. So having those different types of travel all on one page is quite easy, because also I might be like, hey, yeah, maybe I want to do a road trip around the UK of like just haunted travel. I'm going to be in the UK in May for the affiliate gathering. I can promise you I won't do that, because my dad like haunted our house as a kid. Happy to tell stories about that. It is super creepy. But it's like his car and our house, and he still has this grandfather clock that I am certain is haunted. And he got this portrait done of us because he is weird. And whatever, they painted like a blonde demon for me instead of me. And like I've never been blonde. I've always had dark hair. It's a whole thing. So because of that, I don't want to attract any more of that. So I'm not going to do it. But like road tripping the UK is not that hard, or even train trips. So that like I do see that as being a way someone could find other museums that they might not have thought of, or that they could plan trips around. But also I think with this content, it's just good content to read, even if you're not necessarily ready for the trip yet. So I think you've got good options there, especially if you want to go eventually beyond the UK a bit more. Setting it up with the destinations page, and then just like kind of keeping that as a general dumping ground, even when you want to write content that maybe isn't necessarily spooky travel related, like maybe it's more, yeah, maybe it's like things to do in Bath, but then you happen to mention the couple of haunted things. That's okay, but it won't really fit in the haunted travel page. So then it can fit on that other page, and it's still like tangentially related. So I think that would be the best way we can do this one. Okay, I'm gonna keep, oh, something's happening there. Oh, that's the pop-up, that's why. Oh no. Okay, so we're gonna do the second one now. I'm gonna have some, I forgot to like get more water, and the tap water here is gross. So I'm gonna be drinking this giant thing of ginger beer. Okay, so now we have Healthy Happy Yoga, which is by Kate Lynch. I hope that's how you pronounce it. So the niche is gentle yoga for highly sensitive people. I write about the benefits of self-compassion, sleep, journaling, breathing, mindfulness, and mindful movement. Okay, that's a lot. So this is something interesting. When I asked for people's niches, a lot of people listed a lot of things. Your niche is one thing, basically, maybe two. And even then, it really should fit together. Like for me with SEO, I just said SEO. I didn't say AI. I didn't say travel blogging. Those are kind of subsections of it. Not being critical. I just think it's like an interesting theme that I didn't expect to happen. Okay, then the silos. I don't organize them except with Kajabi tags. Oh, interesting. Okay. I think the silos are meditation videos, restorative yoga, journaling, long form deep dive articles, and post promoting my services thinly veiled as informative. So I just love that, like the description. I think that's really entertaining, but like, yeah, fair. Like how great private yoga is and why beginners can go on yoga retreats. Okay. Then the audience, highly sensitive people bordering on burnout, oh, that's me, who are aware of the need for self-care, but have a lot of internal obstacles, including people-pleasing and blurry boundaries. I need to come to one of your retreats. Yeah, so I think, okay, so we've got the person, it's me. great. So that makes it a lot easier. So then we have, I think yoga itself is kind of the general niche, but I think gentle yoga and like mindfulness, like kind of, I don't know if mindfulness supersedes yoga would be the one thing. I don't know if it's like mindfulness is a part of yoga or yoga is a part of mindfulness, one of the two. Somehow they are related. I can definitely see that. To me, the self-compassion, the journaling, the sleep, the breathing, that all comes from the mindfulness. So I think like gentle yoga and mindfulness, to me, those would be the two kind of parts of the niche. And then I think the rest is just getting very specific, which is great. Like, I'm glad you've done that. I think we have like an audience avatar that's pretty clear there, but I don't think if anyone else but me asks for the niche, I would keep it simpler. So when I used to write novels when I was a kid, and this is like how you know I like was going to go into law. I found at the University of Toronto when I was 16 a loophole in their master's programs that I could go to a master's class that they had on writing for writing novels. And it was like everyone else was like 30 plus because it was a specialty master's. And I was there like 16 with my little novel. And the one thing they taught us that was really, really great, there were so many things, but one great thing was if you can't describe your novel in under 28 words, you don't know what it's about. And I think for a blog, if you can't describe it in under 6 words, maybe 7 max, you don't know what your niche is. So another bit of homework for y'all is to sit down and like define your niche in 7 words. Definitely there will be more specifics there. Like, for example, we even have like global travel for 20 somethings. If you're just telling a random person, you might just say global travel. Even like I said with spooky travel, like it might just be spooky travel. Here, it'd probably be gentle yoga and mindfulness. We've kept it really short there, but you know all those other intricacies that lead into that. So I think it's better to have a long form version for yourself, maybe 28 words, but to be able to describe it to people, I think 6 or 7 is pretty good. Okay, so now let's take a look at what you already have. So at a glance, I don't know what's happening. We have Compassion Club, which I'm guessing is a course of yours. Take care of everyone except yourself, Compassion Club. Yeah, this looks like is it a course or a freebie though? Because it said free trial. Oh, it's a wait list. Okay, so it's a membership with a wait list. Interesting. So if it's not open, do we need it to be the very first thing? So I would also order things on your menu in order of importance. And that'll be the most important thing when it's open. But if it's not open right now, is it the most important thing, is my question. Then mindful parenting is interesting because you never brought up parenting to me. So is parenting still a part of what you're focusing on, or is it not anymore? If it's not a focus anymore, then we need to get rid of that for sure. It's interesting. Yeah, because I think it does fit with mindfulness and I can see how that connects. But if that's not really going to be like a focus of your content, it's not really your niche. And it confused me in the menu because also like yoga is down here. Compassion Club, I didn't really know what that was, and that's okay. Mindful parenting, because that was second, when I first opened this link, I was like, okay, that's what this is going to be about. Even though yoga is in the name of it, I wasn't really sure. Then Brooklyn, pardon me. I've been recording an audiobook version of the Dominate Your DA ebook, and I never realized how much I don't talk because my voice is going so hard, which is great because I have a podcast interview later this afternoon. Okay, so, oh, this is a Brooklyn class. Okay, I get that. Is that not the same as private yoga, is my question. No. Okay, so that's a group class, and then this is private yoga. Okay, so all these first 4 things are things for sale. I think we need better labeling of them to begin with. Oh, these are also things for sale. Where's your content? Let's go to your homepage. I think it was just like listed on the homepage then. I did see posts. I thought. No, I don't see any posts. Okay, in the footer, there's a blog section. So that's already a problem because how are people going to find this if it's not easily linked in your menu? Remember that on mobile, like the footer is a ways away and people are not going to get to that super easily. So for anybody who does not have their blog linked in their menu, if you have a blog, link it, please. Even like the simplest example would be, if my keyboard would turn on, Elizabeth Goddard, who is like my course creation mentor. You can even see on hers, she has a blog over here. And that's like, it's not super organized. It's not her focus at all. I actually like did a coaching call for her group in January, I think, going over SEO. And she was like, wow, I'm not doing any of that. And I was like, no, but that's okay. You know, that's not your focus. But here you can see all the posts are listed, but there was a way to find them. And there is a lot of great content here. I will say, like, I do not recommend this setup. If we're blogging and we're like dedicated to this blog section, we want to make this a lot clearer. So I would even say, put blog, first of all, put blog in your menu for sure, should be at the top. And then within that, if you're going to have everything else with it as well, and then you can't fit in like silo pages for each in the menu, which happens, that's okay. I typically say like 6 things in the menu, maximum 8. So we're bordering into that already. So if we add the blog in, we'll be at max. Then what I would do is have a silo page for that, where then we organize things for people and we break it down into the silos. So based on the content, with the silos, I think meditation videos, I think just meditation is kind of its own thing. I don't think you necessarily need the video element of it. And I think those like thinly veiled informative posts, that's just yoga. So I would say like yoga is going to be one of your silos within this, and then any type of yoga will go in there. Then I would say like meditation or mindfulness, and then that's where I think all of the videos and the journaling would go. The long form deep dive articles, I don't 100% understand what those are. I'm guessing it's like some of these ones, like how to relax into chronic stress. I would say that's still mindfulness. So I think you have kind of 2 things here of like yoga, mindfulness, and then within mindfulness, we have it broken out into meditation, into journaling, into whatever. And those would be your clusters. And then within the silo of yoga, and I don't know enough about different types of yoga, which is embarrassing because I worked at a yoga retreat in Spain for a while. But I just did what they told me. And mostly I led hiking meditations and writing meditations. And I was just like taking the yoga classes. If you want to break those out into different types of yoga, then that's fine too. And then those would be their own silos. But right now what we have, I think here are a bunch of clusters that we need to then silo to like a bigger overarching umbrella. So yeah, I think mindfulness and yoga, if those are going to be your 2 focuses, that makes a lot of sense. Now, if you think that journaling is separate from that, to me, journaling is a part of my mindfulness. So I would connect those. But if you don't, then like you just need to break it out as to like, again, where would your audience look for this information? And because right here, I see beginners who can go on yoga retreats, and even over here, like people who are like aware they need self-care, but they have all these obstacles. And a lot of times the obstacle is their own inability to realize that they need the thing, especially like you say here with like people pleasing, blurry boundaries and stuff like that, which first of all, I'm not 100% sure how yoga fully connects to that, but I get like the burnout part of it. So I do think it does. But then I think, yeah, I feel like they wouldn't necessarily know the types of yoga. Like I vaguely know that like yoga nidra and like hot yoga and stuff are different. I don't know if that's Bikram. I don't like, I don't know. So having those different terms might be too much, and having just like yoga to start, especially if you don't have like a million posts. I don't know how many posts you have. I think you do have a fair amount. Yeah, you have a fair amount. But a lot of these seem to fall more under, I would even say that like burnout should be one of your silos then, because the content, like some of it, I don't think like the winter solstice journal prompts, I'd say that fits into mindfulness. Communication tips to survive the holidays, I don't 100% know where that fits. And then, but there are like, there's a fair amount of burnout related or like stress related things. So I'd put that. And then if you want to keep the parenting, then I think that's, which like, do what you want. I'm not saying to like get rid of it necessarily. It just wasn't mentioned over here, so I wasn't sure. Then I would say kind of your 4 silos, which is a fair amount, to be honest. I don't typically have that many, unless they're destinations, but I would say like mindfulness, yoga, what did I say? Burnout, and then like mindful parenting. I would even just call it parenting. I think those would then be your 4, and then you just categorize the stuff inside of that. Now, a pro tip for everyone here, once you decide on your silos, take your sitemap, which I recently learned, which like I should have known beforehand, is usually sitemap_index.xml. So it's going to be your domain name. So shenowseo.co/sitemap_index.xml. Now, if that's not it, you can also find it in your Google Search Console. On the right-hand side, no, left-hand side, that was embarrassing. On the left-hand side, it'll say like sitemaps. Click on that and see what the URL is there. Copy that, put it into your like menu bar URL, whatever it's called, enter, and it'll bring up your sitemap. So here I have like my post pages, cadence elements, web stories, and categories. What you want is the post sitemap. And once it loads, there we go. Now it has all of my blog posts here. So I can grab this pretty easily, copy and paste it over, and then I'll be able to take those, like the URLs. Well, first I take them. Let me just do this. It's better for me to demo it. I don't know why I always try to just talk through it. You can take them, put them into like an Excel or something anywhere, just that way, because you're gonna have like the images and last modified. Images will only be if you index your images. So then I'm gonna just take column A, that way I just have my URLs, and I'm gonna go over to ChatGPT and then ask ChatGPT, hi ChatGPT, here's my website, these are my content silos. It works best if you already tell it your content silos. Please categorize my content within these silos. And then it'll like sort them, and anything left over, and I'll say like, leave out anything that you don't think fits. Then I can see, okay, why don't they fit? What can I do? Maybe it does and ChatGPT got it wrong. It does sometimes, it's fine. You can also ask it, like, here's my content, here's my niche, here's my audience. What do you think my categories should be? And I find asking it for categories works better, and tell it like there should only be 3 or 4 or something, and then see what it comes up with. Like that can also be a helpful way. But ultimately, it gets stuff wrong because it doesn't know our audience the way that we do. So be careful. Okay, I'm gonna keep moving because I'm going slow. Sorry. Okay, so next one we have Side Hustle Weekend, which is by Ankit, I think. Ankit, I'm not sure of your name pronunciation, I apologize. I did ask people to give me a phonetic pronunciation, and only one person did, which I appreciated, but yeah, I don't know how to pronounce people's names. I can barely pronounce mine most days. Okay, so now we have a niche, so side hustle, passive income, making money online. I think that's just side hustle. To be like, I think that could be pretty easily summed up, which is great. So, okay, we got that. And it's called the Side Hustle Weekend, so makes sense. Don't have any silos as of now, fair. And then, okay, the audience are people looking to earn extra money from side hustles and generate passive income while doing their 9 to 5. So this site is more of like a news roll almost of articles where there isn't, ooh, what was that? Okay, something's not loading. There we go. Are you gonna work now? Yeah, okay. So there isn't really like a ton of order here, but we do have something up here. So we have everything: side hustle, digital nomad, solopreneurship, content creator, and then the more is just passive income. So I don't really know why we have more. So what is different between side hustle and passive income, I guess? Like, I guess that passive income is, I mean, yeah, like my day job has passive income, so I guess I get it. But a lot of this stuff I feel has some crossover. So side hustles make sense. I would then say within side hustles though, to have those topic clusters of like different types of side hustles, because someone who's artistic is going to want different ones than someone who is more like techie. So having like some order here for someone to find the right type of side hustle for them, I think will be beneficial. Okay, then we have digital nomad, which has a lot of stuff that are in the others. That was what I was thinking. Yeah, so a lot of these posts, to me, the digital nomad already go with side hustle, already go with passive income, go with solopreneurship or content creator. So I don't think we need this one. And you're kind of unnecessarily setting yourself up to compete with full-on digital nomad sites, and there's so many of them. So I don't think we need that. I think we'd get rid of that. Then solopreneurship. I guess I need to understand how this is different than, because like side hustles to like full-time income is fine. I would still, I guess, I think I'd still look in side hustle for that. Trying to think, would I? I don't know, maybe you guys give your opinion for, what was the name? I apologize. for Anki again. Give your opinions in the chat because maybe you disagree with me. But I would, unless this is like stories of success, which is what I see a bit more here, in which case I might call it that, like success stories or something like that. Because if I came here, I'd be looking for tutorials on how to like become a solopreneur. And to me, that'd be similar to passive income or side hustle. Usually, like there is a fair amount of crossover there because usually you start as a side hustle. Okay, then content creator, which is the same as solopreneurship. Okay, there's a couple different at the bottom. Okay, so I think we also need to clear these up so that they're fully different. So this is something that people do a lot, which like is fair. Stuff can cross between silos, but it really should have like one dedicated silo. So like when I was talking about spooky travel earlier, having like the UK be really specific and then having being specific to like UK travel. But if it was something like best haunted museum in Bath, technically that's really focused in the haunted travel section. It can be in both, but it really has a main home. So here I think we're getting too much stuff crossed. So I think side hustle is great. I think passive income makes so much sense. And then I pick one more thing, and it feels like digital nomad, solopreneurship, content creator. There's a lot happening there. And a lot of those things, yeah, they really do cross over. So I would have even said at a glance, if we're just focusing on side hustles, breaking it down by type of side hustle as kind of the silos or topic clusters. Because if I like back when I used to look for side hustles constantly, like that was like all I did. Selling feet pics is very different than like starting a travel blog. So I would have wanted those to be in separate places, I guess. And I think passive income makes a lot of sense to have, but I don't know if content creator, solopreneur, I don't even know that many people know what a solopreneur is. Like I didn't know when I was getting started. Maybe I was just very naive. I don't know. But yeah, so my suggestion would be even just side hustle and passive income. And then within those, breaking it out to topic clusters that are more specific around the type of side hustle or the type of thing. Even within content creation, like I see email subject lines, AI, branding the Barbie way, starting a blog, like blogs and newsletters are fairly different. Ways to make money from your phone. I don't know if that's fully content creation. I get that it could cross over with like, okay, you might have an Instagram account on your phone and be an Instagram influencer, but I think we need to separate that out more. Okay. Okay, now we have Kate abroad for global travel for 20 somethings. Zoom, this drop down bar drives me out of my mind. Get out of my way. Get out of my way, Zoom. There we go. Okay. So we have Kate abroad here, which is current silos structured by continent, Europe, Americas, Asia, then by country. And then the target audience are 20 somethings looking to travel affordably. Okay, so we got 20 something year olds. We got it broken out by location, and really the way that they're traveling then is looking for the location, not the budget travelers is what budget travel options is what I'm getting from this. Because if budget travel was the focus, I would want to have a section that has like more like budget tips or something, but that might be under travel resources. So we're going to check. Now, something that always comes up for me is the color contrast. So I don't think this would be accessible to somebody with a red color blindness. It is pretty similar colors. And also like, yeah, when I hover, that goes, does that turn the same color or is it gray? Genuinely can't tell. So I would make the colors more contrasted, is that a word? I don't know. But I would change them to like white or something even. That way it like really pops. Because also right now, like my attention goes to the kind of banner here rather than the menu, which is fine. That's going to happen on your home page, but I barely even noticed the menu was there. So we want to be careful there. Now, for continents, I'm not a big fan, and that's because people don't know where stuff is. And that's just like unfortunate, but it's true. And then there's places like Turkey, which are both in Europe and in Asia. So it can be confusing trying to find stuff. I get that like travelers tend to know more. I did like I think 8 months across Europe, and genuinely I learned what countries were in Europe just by looking at a map and being like, hey, that one could be next, and then just going there. But I didn't know before. And that's like, yeah, my geography isn't great, but like it's not that bad. Like I passed all my classes very with high grades, to be honest. It's just foreign geography isn't often taught. Okay, so then we have Australia. Okay, so then broken out by region. Okay, then New Zealand. Okay, this is weird. Why is there text and then the post images? I'm just getting like 8 different vibes from these pages where like it feels like it's like a pillar page, which is like more explanatory about the thing. Then it gets navigational, then it gets image navigational, and I'm just like not sure what to expect, especially on mobile where this would be even smaller. Like it's gonna take me probably like 3 full scrolls of the page to get to anything resembling a link. And I'm just like, as a user, I wouldn't assume that there's links there. Like I would just keep going. So you just worry about like people not noticing this. Okay, now for Europe, we have, I'm guessing like a main Europe one. Let's see. Yeah, okay, then we have a bunch of locations and then we have information at the bottom. Okay. And then we have the broken out by country. Again, I don't love a drop down. Even if we look at this on mobile. Yeah, see, like that font is so small. It does work. Okay, so that's good, but I'm not a huge fan of drop downs still because it makes people do a lot of work to begin with. And if you're already going to break it out here and there's not that many posts for each of them, I would just have this one page, to be honest, and make their lives easier. But so far, the locations, at least, they are very clearly in one area. Even the Americas, I don't know that some Americans would realize that. They might think you just misspelled America or American. Um, but I get what you mean here by having Peru, Bolivia there as well. Okay, we got Asia, and we're gonna get the Americas, then Africa, and Morocco is clearly in Africa. Yeah, this North America one should be a page though, and should not just be, also, it shouldn't be North America because you have the other ones there too. Yeah, so I think we need to clear this up a bit because when I look at this with your silos, I get no vibes that this is for 20 somethings. I have no idea that that's what's happening. I have no idea of who we're talking to. And I don't really get the vibes of, yeah, how these are connected. And we want to have some connection as best we can between the content. So like writing 10 posts on each place is fine, but like, how are you going to get that person from that trip to Peru over to New Zealand? Like, is that the same person? And ideally it should be. So here, I think we're kind of like leaving people adrift a little bit, and I don't really see what's connecting them. So definitely, like, it doesn't make sense to have one that says like millennial travel because like millennials just travel, it's fine. But I do want to see some connection a bit more between the content. And I think that's going to come down to posts being written that kind of connect it, like some general posts about, yeah, best places for millennials, best places for Gen Z or something, which may not rank that well, but at least it'll connect it. So I think we need something like that, bringing these together. I think your silos are just destinations here, and we don't really have anything about a travel style. And it is really good to have something that links it all together, even if it is budget travel or something. I like, sorry, I'm just like reading the bio as I talk to try and see if there's something here that we could pull out. I don't really see anything that is like, this is a clear style or niche. I think like global travel for 20 somethings is the niche, but we need some way to connect this content so that people aren't kind of just left like, okay, I've done Morocco, now what? Like, and oh, and there's just one post. Yeah, so we need more for them. Then yeah, for everybody, like a bit more. You should always have your about, you should always have contact, you should always have like a work with me if you're going to work with brands in your menu, just a side note. Yeah, so I think I think these silos of destinations work. They need more content for sure. But we need something that brings it together, and I don't see that right now. So I would recommend figuring out either like a post or two that could connect everything, Or yeah, bring in that idea of people traveling affordably and like affordable travel tips, and then have that where people can go and find all of that information really easily. I also just at a glance think we need more content in each of these things. And I realize we're coming upon an hour, so I'll go half an hour over for questions. I apologize, guys. I thought I'd be speedier at this. Okay, then we have Nova Scotia Explorer. So it's Nova Scotia, I should say their name, pardon me. Kaylin, I hope. Maybe Caitlin and it was misspelled, but I think it's Kaylin. I don't see a name here, so I'm not sure. I think it's Kaylin. Okay, I'm not sure where to start with silos, tags, and categories. I probably don't have enough content yet either. Do I just make big posts that cover everything, then smaller, more detailed posts? Help. And the audience are people wanting to visit Nova Scotia and surrounding areas. Now, Nova Scotia is a province in Canada, so the best thing here is that it is such a specific location. So because of that, it's a lot easier to set up silos. Now, again, we need to think, are people planning a trip to Nova Scotia based on location or based on a travel type or style? Now, like my Build in Public site, I have set up with like things to do, accommodations, tours, and, oh, that's bad. What's the other one? Where to stay, what to do, tours. There's another one, day trips. That's what it is, day trips. And that's how I have it set up. Now for Nova Scotia, it could be that you instead do it like by the city in Nova Scotia. So like Halifax, Peggy's Cove, like I do think people tend to plan to go to a region of Nova Scotia. However, also not that hard to like get to other stuff in Nova Scotia. Theo and I did a road trip there a couple of years ago. I think that was his first flight actually. So you do have two options here. Now, from my knowledge of how people would search, I do think filtering it by city is going to be easiest. And so even though you don't have a ton of content, silos start immediately. Yes, you can add more silos, but they do begin the second you make your site. So we've got like some general information about like things across Nova Scotia, which is great, but there's things like the Christmas markets in Halifax, places to stay in Lunenburg, Peggy's Cove guide, like those should be somewhere. And right now when I come to the site, there is no way for me to navigate to those easily. So first of all, menu far too small. I need these font to be bigger. Then we have home, about, shop, contact, press release. So what is the press release? Is this about the start of it? Okay, so it's a press release about starting the blog. I don't think we need that in the menu. For like media and stuff, having a work with me there and then like linking it would be good enough, if anything. You could even put it on the contact page, to be honest, and like link to it, but I don't think we need a dedicated menu for it. And then shop, I'm guessing this is going to be WooCommerce, isn't it? If my keyboard would turn on. Yeah, that's WooCommerce. Not a fan. Typically don't recommend having WooCommerce on your blog. Have it on a subdomain if anything, but this is going to slow down the site a bit. Sorry, it's a separate thing, but I always get distracted by it. But okay, so right now I'm coming to your site and I'm planning a trip to Nova Scotia. And I'm like, okay, I want to go to Wolfville. I want to go apple picking and drink some cider, basically. How would I find that? And right now I have no way to find it except clicking through every post or like category page basically of this nested thing to find it. And I don't even know how many pages there are. Like when I click to the second one, it says more older posts. So I don't know how much till I get to the end. Like, okay, we've got 3, 4, like this is, you've got plenty of posts to need silos for sure. So we want to then categorize it. And I don't think people are looking at Nova Scotia and thinking about types of travel, like camping versus city versus food versus history. Like, I don't think people are thinking that way when they're planning a Nova Scotia trip. I think they are really focused on the destination. So what I would do is have like just one up here that's like Nova Scotia travel, just Nova Scotia, cities, whatever you want to have it called. And then on that page, you're going to have the subsection of each location. So each city or region or however you want to describe it and break it out. And then there you're going to have the content for each of those regions. So, and then even just having one that is just like Nova Scotia itself, like general Nova Scotia guides, all of that will then be so much easier for them to find. Once you have too many that like that page gets too much, like I said with the keyword thing at the beginning, put it on a separate page. Now, I would not list every city in your menu here. There are too many cities. It would get overwhelming, but potentially I would list Halifax, and Nova Scotia generally, because I do think most people going to Nova Scotia want to go to Halifax. It's where I lived, it's where I did uni, I went to Dal. But I think it also is where the airport is, so most people get in that way. So I would potentially put both of those up there, but I think your silos are going to be the regions, because I don't think there's enough there for like camping in Nova Scotia to have its own section, and I don't think people plan just to do that. So that's how I would break it up. Okay, stop sharing now. Let me just make sure the live stream's still going well. Okay, can you just pop in the live stream if this is still working? Like, give me a thumbs up or something. I just always want to make sure that I haven't broken it again, because that happens so often. Also, if I'm squinting, it's because it is the sunniest day ever here, and I have a towel thrown up over my curtains because they're not even blocking the light well enough. So I apologize that, yeah, I look very squinty. I have not had special gummies today, I promise. Okay. I see some questions in the chat. I'm going to start with those, then bounce over to the ones in the group. I have a hard stop at 2:30, so we have 30 minutes, and you have all my attention for that. So no worries there. Okay, so hi from all over, which is great. What are jump links? Little Red Traveler asks. Apologies. I have a YouTube video on jump links. Essentially, they are a link to something within the same page. So like when you're on a table of contents and you click on a link and then it jumps down to that header, that's what it is. And you can make that yourself. I'm late. Will this be available to watch back? Yes. Love the name, The Morbid Tourist. It is a cool one. Is this live or pre-recorded? It's live. Oh, thank you, Jen and Stevo, for answering that for me. Kaylin asks, how many max silo pages should you have? Should every single post be on a silo? So essentially, yeah, like it should be on some silo somewhere if you want it to be discoverable. So let's say you have a post that like is something that ranks on Pinterest, it's a million years old, you're pretty embarrassed about it, it doesn't matter to your audience at all, you never want them to see it, then no, you wouldn't want it to be on a silo page. You'd be like, I don't want people to see this. However, 99.9% of your blog posts you want people to find. So then yes, you want it to be on a silo page. Now call it whatever you want, pillar page, category page, topic page, silo page, I don't care what you call it. Essentially, it is just an everything page of all of that content. It is a hub where someone can find that content. And I don't really care what you want to call it. I recommend having a navigational silo page, which is what I call what I have on She Knows SEO. So if you want to see what that looks like, go there. It's sheknowsseo.co/SEO guide or AI guide, or I think travel guide. It might be travel blog guide. I'm not sure, but they're all linked in the menu. But essentially, like it is just text, so you can find all the information. I don't love it when they have a ton of text on it around that. That's like, here's like the currency, and here's this, and here's that. It's not really worth it because your audience doesn't care yet. You're going to take them somewhere where they care, and give them the information elsewhere. So like, why would you give them all the information now when they're going to get it elsewhere, you know? And then, yeah, category pages can't pass authority, so not worth it. And anything nested is just annoying. Like if I'm trying to find your Morocco posts and there's 12 pages of them, how am I going to find that Marrakesh experience? Because also I can't spell Marrakesh to save my life. I lived there for a while, can't spell it. But I'm not going to know where to find that. And I'm going to get tired of clicking through to the next page and the next page and the next page when you could have made that easy for me. On that Morocco page, had it listed under Marrakesh so I could find it really easily. Silos are basically link pages and not full overall blog posts with general info filled with links. Correct. That's like an old style of pillar page is what it's called. And this is where people get confused about like the terminology. Essentially, like it's the same as a silo page in essence because it's meant to link to everything. But I think it does a worse job for user experience because like, how is someone going to find stuff there? Now, I have friends that teach that and that's fine. Mostly for them, it's that they intend for that post to rank. It's not about the navigation. So I think you can have those separately, but I don't think that should be your navigation. The intent here is navigation. We want to focus on navigation. Okay, Love and Serenity Meditations ask, is this accurate? Silo is a page of blog posts that relate to the page subject. How do my blog posts get filed? What does this look like on the back end? I can show you. Oh, I need to share screen again. One sec. Let me get back to it because I'm on the sitemap thing. So I need to get back to the actual page. Now I set mine up in like a cheat method, honestly. Oh, I need to, nope, one sec, wait. I have to log in, so we're going to stop sharing. Stop sharing screen. Where did it go? There we go. Okay. Let me log into the backend. I'll show you. Now I use a lazy girl method because I cannot be bothered with 4 sites to do this regularly. I don't think it's the best thing in the world. Like, it is a little bit lazy. And so because of that, you could even see that like they weren't necessarily organized from beginner to advanced. They were kind of slapdash as to their order. And that's okay, in my opinion. Like, it's because it's not like 40 things, so people could still find it. Let me just find the page. But you can do it manually, where you would literally just put the header and then you would just add a link to it. I don't do that because I realized with She Knows SEO, I forgot for 8 months to do it and then no one could find my content. So, okay, here we're good to go. Let's share screen. Okay, so on the back end, this is what it looks like. There's a header, I recommend H2s, and then we have the links to each post, but it's actually in a block, and the block is called posts, and that block just pulls all of your latest posts. You have to then filter by category or by a tag. I use tags because for me, like, categories are what Google cares about. Tags are what I care about. So they're for internal use only, really. And so for that, that's where I like label my topic clusters. So that's how I have them set. Cool. Oh no, I've like full screen stuff and I've lost your questions. Okay. Then I have destinations, then continents, then countries. So the goal is with like silo pages and menus, especially. I was thinking more about like, sorry, this was going to be more about setting the silos themselves, but you're right. I should have gone into more of like the setup as well. The reason that we do navigational silo pages is that we want to have every post on our website within 3 clicks from our homepage. So someone comes to our homepage, within 3 clicks, they should be able to get to that specific blog post. So that's when I said like having a friend search for it. They should be able to find it pretty easily. If they're clicking through to like 8 different things, then it's like very hard to find it. And we all know from like backlinks and internal links, like direct links help the most, but they can pass some like extra authority to like the bonus extra ones, right? And so that's where we want to have those extra little links happening with it, or like having a shortening the links between things by having that navigational silo page. So going from a destinations page to a continents page to a countries page to the post from our homepage, that's like 4 clicks. That's too many clicks. Also, again, people don't know where continents are. If you're going to do it that way already, like just cut out the continents, go straight to countries, just easiest. Now, if you meant that that's how you have it subsected on the specific page, that's not as bad. That's kind of okay. So I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's, I'd kind of need to see it to like get a better idea of it. But if you mean that like it's like destinations page, go to the destinations page and you link out to those continents page, that's where I have the problem with it. If it's all on that destinations page, that's fine. That's totally okay. Okay, my voice is going again. Okay, Healthy Happy Yoga. I have a Substack now for parenting. So, but is that like linked anywhere on the site then? Because otherwise, like for the parenting thing, we need to have a connection for it to be on this website. Otherwise, we want to have it more separate. So if it is like going to be something that's on the site, we want to link to it somewhere because I didn't realize that was there. And basically that cursory click through I was doing is kind of what a new user would do. Okay. Oh, now I scrolled again. Alexandra asks, I write about travel bucket lists. I silo by doing country bucket lists, going further to city bucket lists, and then reviewing specific bucket list idea. What would be the best way to organize this? So again, you need to think about your audience. And this is something I find with bucket list travel that I think is a bit of an issue is like, if I'm planning a trip that is a bucket list trip, let's say Antarctica, always wanted to go, big on my list. I kind of know I want to do that already. And then I already know like that it's this big bucket list thing. So sure, I want to know the things to do and stuff, but I don't necessarily understand with bucket list sites how you guys are structuring it, that your audience wants to keep coming back or keeps like, not that they want to, sorry, that they like need to keep coming back to get more information, or how you funnel them from one thing to the next. Unless the point really is to stay at the awareness stage where it's like, if you think of the conversion buying funnel, it's AIDA. So awareness, oh God, intention, I think. Yeah, awareness, intention, desire, action. Might be information. I don't remember. It's one of those ones there. If you Google it, Ahrefs is a great like image of it. But with awareness, it's hard to convert those people to purchase anything because they're just kind of in the inspiration planning stage. So that's a bit of a struggle. Now, I do think that like countries versus cities makes a fair amount of sense, pardon me. But then reviewing specific bucket list ideas, do you mean like the activity individually? In which case, so you're gonna do like country, so it'd be like, I don't know, Morocco, I guess. Let's do Turkey. Turkey, you go to Theseus, and then you'd review visiting the actual like, I think Theseus is where the Library of Alexandria is. So you break it out that way. Yeah, I think we need to figure out then how you're going to organize that per place, because that's going to be a lot of clicks, or your silo page is going to be crazy. So then you might want to have it broken out by like a destinations page with the countries, you go to the country page, and then we have the cities. And within the cities, it does have all the individual activities as well as the general city guide. I think that would make more sense. And then even just a general like bucket list travel where it is like how to plan your bucket list, how to save for your bucket list trips. Like then you have something that does connect it all together. You know what I mean? Okay, now we have Nishi. Nishi was the person who thankfully gave me pronunciation. So I really appreciate it, Nishi. Do you need to list every post in the silo page? Somewhere, yes. I have a destinations page split by country, and under each country photo, I have the latest 5 posts. No, you want to have all of them listed. And this is the thing, especially because the latest ones, you're going to keep getting more and more specific, right? So we want those general ones because like sometimes our users are beginners. So that like, what is a keyword? Most of y'all probably don't need that anymore, but someone brand new to my site does. And so I don't want that to be buried or hidden or like hard for them to find. Because honestly, you guys like me better now, so you're more willing to work for it. They're not, they're brand new. So they want that information really easily. And the general stuff does get people more interested in the thing too. So we really want to have that for sure. Michelle asks, if we are targeting a specific audience, such as the 20-somethings that you mentioned, are we supposed to be specifying that on the site, like you said, for Gen Z to visit, or is it sufficient? Like places for Gen Z to visit. So for that one, for like the Gen Z to visit, I was thinking more of like a post itself that would like actually go for a keyword, just to have something where you can link between all the stuff for internal linking. But a better example is like a travel style fully. So where it is like, or even like family travel where it is kind of an audience. But if you're specifically targeting like 50 somethings or senior travel, which I see a lot as well, I do think having senior travel is fine if you have posts that are specifically like talking about that. If you don't, then you can't have something there. And that's kind of like, then it's moot. But if you have posts that are literally for this demographic, for this audience, then it does make sense to have somewhere where those are, because many of them, the general ones, also like won't be tied to a destination. And at a glance, the best menus I've seen, you know what the niche is from the menu. You can immediately tell what the focus is. And like, not to just like blow my own horn, but like on Shino's SEO, you know my 3 focuses immediately. Like it is so apparent. So you can immediately tell, okay, Nina knows these 3 things. This is what she can help me with. And that's going to give me more authority as well. Versus if I just had like, yeah, keywords, backlinks, travel blog, food blog, like, I don't know, whatever. Or if I literally just had blogging and that's all I had, I haven't given you any specifics. So you really don't know who I am or my style or anything. And a lot of us think like, oh, well, we say it on our homepage, we say it on our sidebar. Those things, like if someone comes to your site from Google or even Pinterest, they're not coming to your homepage. They don't see that. Your sidebar on mobile doesn't show up till the end. So people don't get that information. Your menu does show up kind of on mobile, kind of not, but like it's sooner. So it does give you more opportunities there for people to see it quickly, for people to immediately know who you are and what you talk about. You want to be very, very clear. Now, a lot of people copy like Nomadic Matt or something who've been around for so long that most people going to the site know the style. And if not, basically every post that ranks is about that style. So you're kind of covered there. But we really want to have something where it is specific. So like, I don't know, a pet travel site. Okay, is it all pets? Is it dogs? Is it cats? Is it bearded dragons? I don't know why, but bearded dragon travel is like a big, like unfilled niche. If you have a bearded dragon, write about that, I guess. But like it's a full subsection with like tons of keywords. No one's writing on them. But only do it if you have a bearded dragon, because it does seem to be very specific. But so for that, you want to have then like destinations where you can go with your dog and dog travel. So someone knows this is a dog travel site. If I just went to Kate's site at a glance, no shame to Kate. Like this is a very common issue. I have no idea what the travel style is. And from a lot of those posts, there wasn't anything that immediately told me this is for Gen Z, this is for millennials. And I'm not saying that every title needs to, but there needs to be a vibe, at least from some stuff. And like, yeah, there always will be like, I don't know, is there Uber in the US? Yeah, that is not going to tell me anything about the audience really, or the style necessarily. But if you're a budget travel site, you could like add in, well, there's Uber, but it's not the cheapest option. Here's the cheapest option. That serves your budget travel audience. Is there Uber? Okay, for a pet site, yes, but it's really hard to find ones that'll take pets. Here's a taxi service that for sure will take your dog. There we go. Like I've served my audience. I've still been really like general with the keyword and helped that keyword, but I've added a tip for my audience. And that's where like even having those dedicated posts about that travel style comes in. Does that make sense to everybody? It is like Kate's is harder because it is a demographic that doesn't necessarily search for themselves. Like I find age is quite hard if you're not like teenage travel, baby travel, toddler travel. A lot of us don't search like young adult travel. I've never searched millennial anything in my life. And I'm like the last year of millennial apparently, but I've never searched it. I've never searched, I think I have searched what is a millennial to try and find the year because my friends and I were debating it, but I didn't like search for millennial travel. I just searched for travel stuff. So that is where you need to like think a bit more about how that can all connect. I think there are some posts that can do it where it is like, where are Gen Z traveling to? Where are millennials traveling? But even think about like where those people are in life, like where to go for your gap year, where to like go for, I don't know, whatever millennials do and Gen Z do, but like types of trips they might take specifically. Are they going on cruises? Maybe, maybe not. Like more senior people tend to like love cruises. Very general, like very much generalizing and stereotyping here, but that is kind of how those connections are made. You know what I mean? Okay, so I see more here. I'm gonna jump over to the ones that were pre-submitted and I'll come back because there were only a couple that were pre-submitted, if I remember. Okay, so Rihanna asks, difference between silos and categories, they're basically the same thing. It's just like a different term. And then it's how they're actually structured. Like a category, the reason I don't use that is because then people think I mean a category page that's auto-generated, and I don't. So I just want to like break it up there. Oh, and then Rihanna asked, for travel blogs, it seems that silos or categories generally default to locations. And that's how a user would want to search. Like they wouldn't care to look through a museum silo because they're not looking for museums all over the world / country, but only in a specific place they're traveling. So do destinations make the most sense as silos / categories for travel bloggers? The problem with this, just like with Kate, is like you have to have so much content for that to be the silo. Like because you are competing with dedicated sites. So like the Rome guy, I use him in a lot of examples because it's just like an easy one. But he's like competing with these amazing like DA 70 sites. And initially he had like a DA of 16. Now it's higher. But because of that, like he has such a dedicated site with so much topical authority. So if you're writing 5-10 posts on a place, you're not answering all their questions. You're not satisfying everything. So definitely, I think destinations become a silo or a secondary silo of travel styles, especially because like if you don't have a niche destination site, you're probably going to stick with one thing for a while to write enough about it. So I would say destination is going to be like your silo to begin. And then over time, you can expand. But the best sites have something that connects everything. Because like, I don't care about someone who's just been to all these countries. Why do I care? What about this is something I can relate to? Unless you're like a lifestyle vlogger or something where it is more about you as a person. But then that usually doesn't work for SEO because Google doesn't care about you as a person. That tends to do better on like Instagram or YouTube or something, which like, yeah, you could be setting up your site for those things, fine. But there's usually still something that you have that ties everything together. For Google, that is not you. It needs to be something for the user. And I would even say for socials and stuff, like I've spoken with other people, had like a YouTube coach consultation last week. I've talked to friends who are into social media, and even they say like you really have to have like some content pillars, and not those weird like inform, educate. Like, no, they're like, you have to have 6 things you're known for. Like she knows SEO. Basically across my socials and stuff, I am known for SEO, AI, travel blogging, and then Theo because he's cute and I talk about him a lot. So like, and then kind of ADHD, which I didn't mean for it to be a thing, but now that's come up. So like, those are the things I'm known for. And if I talk about like, I don't know, I complain about being celiac a little bit, but I don't like share recipes with you guys. And if I did, you'd be like, that's interesting. It's a weird, like, why are we doing that now? That doesn't really matter to me. And if that started taking over, a lot of you would leave because that doesn't matter to you. Like that is not important in your journey, even if it's my journey. So that's why we want to have these in a way that like benefits the user. So I would say, yes, destinations can be part of your silos, but they're 99% of the time should be something else tying them together. I do know general travel sites that do okay, but they do so much content. And again, they still have some sort of connection and they would write like 50 to even 100 posts on that destination. So you're competing with those people. And that's why like 10 posts on each destination can't really be a silo. Okay. I write about travel. Oh, sorry, this is Nancy. I write about travel all over the US, but have mostly traveled in the Western states. But not much travel in the middle of the country. Is it more logical to just have a USA silo and subdivide from there? Or should I actually have a main silo for both Western and East Coast US? Interesting. The US, the problem is, I think we need to treat the US the way we treat Europe. And then like each state becomes a country almost. And you wouldn't just have like a US, or pardon me, just a Europe silo with no demarcation inside of it. You need to break it up. Now, I actually went viral, like very mini viral on Instagram for complaining about this last year. I don't understand the demarcation of the US because it is so confusing. The Midwest is Northeast, which is weird. Like that makes no sense. I mean, to be fair, we used to have Upper and Lower Canada and they were the opposite of each other, like, but very historically, not now. So yeah, I think depending on who you're targeting, and this is where, like, again, audience comes in, because if you're targeting me as a Canadian or someone in Europe coming to the US, they won't necessarily know what is East versus West. I think East versus West is easier. I think the middle is actually the harder part. And like specifically, Nancy references Arizona, California, Virginia, and the mid-Atlantic states. I don't know what those are, but I'm guessing like Maine or something, probably. That might not be mid, I'm not actually sure. But having something, again, where we think about the user. So to me, East and West don't fully make sense. I would lean more towards US, and then I go in and then I learn about those locations to know what's even in the East versus the West. If you're going to do East versus West, please have like a guide at the top that tells me like East Coast. And then that's where those jump links come in of like, here are the areas. That way I know because I won't otherwise. So to me, yeah, if you're targeting foreigners, then I would do a USA page. If you're targeting locals or people in the US, like especially for road trips and things, East versus West is perfect. Like they'll get that. Nancy also asks, would it be strange to say that meaningful travel is a niche or focused? For example, I write about historic sites, art galleries, and museums, or more about those than beaches and nightclubs. No, because that means nothing to users. And that's harsh, I know. But like, first of all, I'm getting tired, so I'm going to get more blunt. But honestly, like that is not something people are searching. Have you ever seen someone who's going, I want to travel meaningfully, and then they search that, like how to meaningfully travel in the US? Maybe like 10 people a year do, like probably not very many. So when we give travel styles or like a niche, it needs to be something our audience uses and searches for. So I'm not going to say that I am like the zero volume keyword site or something, because most people don't know what that is. Most people never search that. So that'll never be something that comes up for them. SEO is something they search. Blogging is something they search. In fact, many of my blogging things about like how, like what is a travel blog is a post that I have because people don't know. And so that's the thing. It's like you overgeneralize the niche usually. That way you can attract more people. And if you give it a name that no one knows, that's going to be a problem. So I would say no to that because who is that person, I guess, is my point. Okay, I'm trying to speed this up. Sorry. Shreya asks, I'm wondering if I should break up my California site by destinations in California, or into pages of where to stay, where to eat, things to do. What's better for user intent? I have no idea who your user is. So I genuinely can't answer because I don't know who this person is. So if it's somebody, and again, we have to think about California. How big is it? How easy is it for somebody to just like get from each restaurant? Is that the user intent of they are coming to this site because they want a road trip to just the best things to eat, the best things to do? Or are they in Los Angeles looking for the things near them? I would lean towards that one personally from my experience in California, because most people go to like one or two spots and they don't typically plan like, okay, I need to hit up these 10 things that are like a 5-hour drive away from each other. That's a lot harder. So you want to be really specific there. Okay, Anu asks, general travel blog, mainly write about itineraries and my experiences in vacation destinations. Currently writing only about the US and mainly one Canadian regions or destinations of silos. I've already answered that. Currently I have silos for 2 main US states I write about and national parks, road trip cities. That's too much stuff. We need to narrow that down. Again, we just don't want that many things, especially to begin with. I would say like 3 to 4 max. Typically, I recommend 1 to 2, especially like as you're getting started and building that topical authority. National parks and road trips kind of connect, but you're also really competing with like specific US road trip sites and specific national park sites. Cities can make sense, but you're competing with the local cities. So you really need to make sure that like whatever makes you unique brings your audience back and can help like you compete for those keywords. Otherwise, for these, you're going to be writing a lot of posts on each one of those things. Okay, silos versus pillars, covered that. Can a cluster also be a pillar? Clusters are within a silo or pillar. So clusters are like my first name, middle name, and 2 last names would each be their own cluster sort of a thing. So that's where like the subsections of keywords and internal links and whatever come from. Even if I had like a golden retriever, sorry, Theo's like dreaming in the corner, so he's making noise, so I thought of him. If I had a golden retriever page, I could do subsections of like grooming, food, activities, or like training, and travel, whatever, like traveling with a golden retriever. Those would be my subsections because then I can fill them. A cluster should typically have at least 10 posts in it. Now, if your silo is only 20, you're not really going to need a cluster. But if your silo is like Nova Scotia, you need a lot of clusters. Now, not for the Nova Scotia site, that needs silos because it's dedicated. But like if I had that for some reason on my Ottawa site, it's not about Nova Scotia, so I'm going to keep it general. So my clusters are where I will like niche it down a bit. I know niche down should not have been the words I used there, but I can't think of what else. Okay, how do I best incorporate an affiliate post into a silo? What if 3 or 4 affiliate posts can be linked to from an info post? None of that's about silos. So affiliate post in your silo, sorry, just like I was reading all the description and I was like trying to skim it, sorry. Yeah, so affiliate posts are going to be in your silo just like a regular post. Everything, every post on your site needs to be in at least one silo, unless it is the hidden shame of your family. It is Bruno in the walls. Like it needs to be something you want people to see. It should, if it is something you want people to see, it should be on a silo page. Affiliates are exactly the same as anything else. They'll just be in whatever cluster you've chosen or just listed under the silo. Now, again, if you have like a beginning silo, you have like 5 posts in it. If they're all affiliates, it'd be a bit weird. You should probably start with some information, but they would just all be listed there. They don't need a cluster yet. And I wouldn't even do a cluster that's like just affiliates, unless like that Build in Public site, it has like where to stay and tours, because they are kind of separate from things to do in day trips. Like they needed somewhere to go. Okay, I'm trying to like answer as many as I can before I go. I don't really understand this question. Outdoor travel and you, would you recommend to stay with linear specified stylos or just as a general structure for internal linking? I have no idea what that means. I'm sorry. Could you clarify, please? Okay, Laura asks, can you expand more on what you said regarding Cato? I already did. Okay, we're good. Kaylin, I'll do Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then drop down for the regions question mark or the regions. So like when you go to Nova Scotia and you click on it, it's then going to list either the regions on the page or the cities on the page. And then currently you could probably list them all just on the one page with those headers breaking up what they are. And then and then Halifax would have its own like subsection, or when they have too many, link it to a page, and then it's going to have its own silo page, but it's not going to be in the menu. So one silo page may have destinations divided by continent and then countries. And silo. So one silo page may have destinations divided by continent. No, I would just divide it by countries. Don't really do continents as best. If you can avoid continents, cut continents out of your life. They are annoying. One silo will be budget travel, and then one silo will be planning a trip. No, because the planning a trip could fit under budget travel. We want to try and like group them together as much as we can. Okay, cultures traveled, cite about a state. You have a category for beaches, but some towns have enough written to be their own category. Should beaches be a parent category? What about beach towns with only a few posts? If it's about a state, how are people searching? Are they just looking for the beaches? If yes, then it should have its own silo. If beaches would not be the primary user intent, the focus would be like finding a town, and then it has a beach, which is nice, then it doesn't need that. Can you expand on the index pages cannot pass authority? Yeah, because they have they're nested pages. So like the home page or the home category can kind of somewhat pass authority, but only to what shows on that page. And that's ever changing. So because of that, any links that you build to that page or internal links you point back to it, because you should be linking back to your silo page about 50% of the time, 30 to 50% of the time, the more the better. And links that you build, like backlinks, you can actually build backlinks to that silo page, which passes authority to everything that's linked there. The fewer links you have, the less that's going to pass authority to everything. Even the page itself, I find category pages, like any archive page, honestly, it just doesn't really pass authority to anything else, which is frustrating. So make it easier for yourself. If you don't split by continent, as you said, people don't always know which continent a country may be in. What do you suggest instead? Just the country, the name of the country, easiest. Destinations page, go to that page, list the countries, they take you to a dedicated country page. If not, they're just all on the destinations page. Would a compilation post do the same thing? I don't know when that came up, MD Harding. I apologize, so I don't know what you're referring to. Nishi, would you have a oh, there's commercials. I didn't know there were commercials. I'm sorry. I don't know how to do that. I didn't know there were commercials on this. That's really embarrassing. I'm sorry. Nishi, would you have a different silo page for each continent? Bearing in mind, I have a destinations page. No, again, skip continents as much as you can. Have a destination silo page and then go directly, if you need to go to what's it called? To go directly to the country page or city page or whatever, like basically biggest destination as quickly as possible to the smaller version of the destination you want to get them to. So niche it as much as possible, niche it down. That would be what I would say. No one outside the Mid-Atlantic knows what that is. Yeah, Mid-Atlantic, I don't know what that is. Okay. Someone search meaningful travel, 70 traffic, 21 difficulty, SEM rush. I don't think that actually, yeah, still, I don't think that's helpful for someone like, sorry, not you searching it. I think you searching it was helpful. I mean, I don't think it's a helpful like categorization of a travel style because it just doesn't mean that much to people. So like we need to find, even like my main site, I talk about expat travel. I think expat is the stupidest word. I don't like using it. I think you're more of an immigrant. I think for me, I call myself a slow mad. That is not a term. Like people are just starting to use it because Rosie Bell, who's a really great author, she's the one who taught it to me. She's now teaching it. So like otherwise, no one used it. So it's not something that people searched. So I couldn't use it because no one could find it. So we want to use what people are searching for. Okay. Okay, so there's more questions. I'm sorry, I have to go, guys. So I did want to say, because we got so many people, like there were so many people that submitted their sites. If people have interest in me auditing just their silos, I am considering opening that up and doing like a $37 offer to just have me like go over your silos for your specific site. But I need to know if people want that because I won't do it if no one wants it. I mean, very much up to y'all. So if you could post in the chat or if you're watching this back after in the comments and just say like audit, I guess is probably the easiest word to use. And then yeah, it'd be like a $37 offer. Just like this, you'd submit the stuff to me. You can clearly see why I need the questions answered in detail, and then I would give you some guidance. And yeah, you could like fix it, and then yeah, that would basically be it. So if you'd like that, feel free to post it. Chat, or I think comments is better. If you could post it in the comments, just use the word audit. That's going to be super easy for me to track. And if enough people want it, I will plan to offer that. I have to figure it out and sort out like how I would do it. And then any questions that I missed, if you could just post them in the comments itself. The chat, I don't understand how to keep it up after this. I know I'm very new to lives. I'm so sorry, guys. And then, or in my free Facebook group, I always answer stuff there. So yeah, if you guys just let me know. Okay, I see some people saying yes and audit in the chat. So I think that'll stay up. If not, please put it in the comments. I hate the delay. It's so annoying to like see the delay between the two. But I would do a limited number, so I just need to make sure there's enough people that I could offer it. But yeah, this has been super fun. Thank you guys so much. I'm thinking of doing like a live a month. That's what my YouTube coach said that like I should do. So if you guys have ideas as well for the next one of what you'd like, I think doing stuff like this is really fun, where you get to see me like in action doing the thing. If you guys prefer something else, let me know. Again, post in the comments, please comments this time, because I will fully lose track of the chat of some ideas of what you guys would like. I am very happy to do more of these. I think they're very fun. But yeah, I need to go and try to like take Theo out before I have this podcast recording where I'm going to look crazy because I'm going to be running around with my head cut off. But yeah, thank you everybody so much. I love that you all came. I love that you took the time to learn this. Again, your homework is going to be, number one, sit down and think of who your audience is. Number two, figure out like the best way you can put everything on your site into kind of buckets, whatever those buckets are. And then set it up. Even on a staging site, if you need help setting that up, I have a YouTube tutorial on it. Just check out my channel. And then three, once you have it set up, even on that staging site, find 2 people who can test it. Now, if you guys would like, you can, I'm going to put a, started stuttering. I'm going to put a thread in the SEO for travel bloggers Facebook group. That's my free Facebook group. And then you guys can comment a link if you want and ask other people. I will not be doing it there, but you can ask other people if they could check out your site for you. Again, I think it's better to do it with like people who are more your actual audience and aren't bloggers, because then they won't know like, or they won't know how to like do the tricks that we do, and tell them they can't use the search bar. Best is when they record themselves doing it, so you can like see it in real time happening. If not, use Microsoft Clarity and you can like spy on them while they do it, which is kind of fun and kind of creepy. And then, yeah, your last, oh, there was somebody else I think I mentioned halfway through. Oh, what was the other homework? Well, I guess also using ChatGPT to try and connect everything. And then just like go through to make sure it looks, yeah, it looks reasonable and someone could find all your content there. Make sure it's all linked, and make sure it's easy to find. Then I guess last thing would be accessibility. Make sure your menu is clear, easy to read, works on mobile, especially on mobile. Google is mobile first. 90% of users, like even from Pinterest and stuff, are using mobile. And yeah, make sure it's responsive, easy to read, and helpful, basically. Okay, Theo has come. Do you want to say hi to people? Yeah, there we go. Okay, Theo says hi, and it's time for his walk. So I'm gonna take him out, but you guys have a great rest of your day. And